everyone, welcome to the RMTV Women's Podcast. This is episode 101. Quite a milestone last week, 100. We were debating whether we go like season 2, like episode 1 of like the new podcast, but then we thought, nah, we'll just stick with it. We know we're we'll just continue it. So this is episode 101. They're going to be quite a mouthful each week now to say the numbers. I think once you get to 168 or something, I think you might have to like stop there. Just stop there and start like a new season or whatever. But for now, we'll stick with it. First thing on the agenda for today is obviously Liverpool's win at the weekend against London Bees. Liverpool women got their first win of the season, first 3 points in the bag. It's weird because I think I could be completely wrong, but I think the last time we won like a league game was like very, very early on, like around Christmas time last year. I think the last win we had was Blackburn away in the Conti Cup, I want to say, the 8-1 game. I think that was the last win, which was in January. But I think in the league, I think it's been a while since we've had a league win, so it's quite nice to be able to celebrate and chat about a win.
I can't even remember what our last league win was. Like, my mind's completely blank. It wasn't like, is it something like Brighton or...
I think it might be Bristol or something like that, you know?
I have no idea. I genuinely have no clue.
It might be the away game at Bristol when...
the Mallory's penalty.
Yeah, and then Anka Price saved the pen, didn't she?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I mean, just the fact that we had to seriously like deliberate what the last league win was just shows how long it's been.
Yeah, genuinely. Like,
it's just ridiculous.
I was gutted as well because you couldn't watch it. Like, obviously, I wasn't there, so I was like, for God's sake, like the first win we've had in so long and we can't watch it. But I was following along on the Twitter updates that we were doing, and like literally we had so many chances in the first half. And if you watch the highlights, if you haven't seen them yet, they're up on the FA Play. You can watch them now. But I think 3 minutes of the highlights were just the first half, and it was us just attacking. But like we just couldn't score, and I was thinking to myself, oh my God, this is going to be one of those games where you're going to have loads of opportunities, you're going to have loads of moments to score, and we're just not going to score, and it'll finish like 1-0 or like 1-1, or it'll end up 0-0. It'll just be like a dead frustrating game. But then...
it was like, as you said, I think I said it in my post-match as well, I can't remember that either, but that was only yesterday. But it was just like chances galore, and I feel like throughout the whole of last season and last season's campaign, that was something that we really lacked. We had everything going up until like the final third, but in the final third, that's where we lacked the sort of intensity and like clinicalness in order to like score the goals, because ultimately, in my opinion, the reason why we got relegated is because we didn't score enough goals. It was always a 1-0 or something like that. So that we were on the losing end for. So it's nice to know now that we might. And I mean, I don't want to jinx anything here, so I'm going to touch wood. That we've sort of got that down, and we're now able to sort of like to progress with that. And the fact that they came from so many different players as well. It wasn't just like one person who was creating the chances. There was Lawley, Kirsty Lynette when she came on, Fernie, Babajide. They all were having a good go at it, and it's nice to see. And obviously we came out the result because of it.
Yeah, I think I was buzzing to see that it was Mel Lawley who scored the first goal, because she had a couple of opportunities in the first half. There was one that when I watched the highlights in the first half that I thought, you've got to be scoring there. I think she's not quite one-on-one with the keeper, but she's clean through on goal. The keeper save. But I think just in terms of like confidence for her, that's just going to do her the world of good, because obviously last season wasn't the best for the whole team. I think personally for her, it probably wasn't the best she could have played. No. But then going into like a new season, I don't think she's got anything to prove, but it's almost like you did expect a little bit more from her last year. So she's got her first goal of the season away from home. I feel like, I think it was Emma I was talking to after the game on Sunday, and I feel like she's got to let go of the past, she's got to let go of last season and what happened. I think the whole team have got to do this and just concentrate on the season. And I think now that'll boost their confidence right up. I don't know if you feel the same.
Oh, 100%. I think I was the first person at the end of last season to go, I kind of was expecting a little bit more from Mel Lawley, and I think she probably feels that personally herself, that she could have taken a few games by the scruff of the neck, and because when she first signed, she was the one player that we were all like, oh my gosh, like she's going to be like the leading player in our team. And I think she might have known that pressure on her shoulders, which may have meant why she performed, you could say, under par for most of the season, with obviously no disrespect to her. But even the Durham game as well, I thought she was just missing something. But hopefully now that she's now got that first goal and a really good performance under her belt, fingers crossed that going forward now, it's sort of that missing piece that she's found that she can then reuse and re-evolve throughout like the whole of the season. Yeah. But like as you said, I think she just needed that one goal in order to hopefully this means the floodgates open and she carries on scoring for us, because ultimately she's one of our most attacking threats in the team. And you need them all to be firing this season. So really, really happy for her, and I'm hoping it continues for a long time.
Yeah, completely agree. I think what's frustrating now is we're obviously the it's like an international break now. There's no but like a couple of players have gone off on like training camps, and there's no matches this weekend, and it's sort of, I feel like this happened to us at a couple of stages last season, where I think early on, I think we might have got like our first point of the season or like our first win or whatever, and then there was an international break. And then we obviously drew with Chelsea 1-1 at Christmas. It was then the Christmas break for about 4 or 5 weeks. It always seems to be that when you do get a little bit of momentum, an international break's thrown at you, and it's like, oh well, I'd have loved to have been playing this season, because you could see the reaction from the players on Sunday, how much it meant to them to get a win. And you know, in order for that momentum to stay, you just have to keep playing your matches. So now I always feel like annoyed that there's an England camp, there's a Wales camp, and there's all those camps, because I'm like, well, I'd rather we have just played again this weekend. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it also makes it worse, the fact that there's no actual fixtures. It's just a camp, so it seems a little bit pointless. Obviously, there must be reasons behind it, but I'm just scratching my head like, what's the relevance of it? Because you're not building up to anything.
Yeah, there's only been 2 games played.
It's just bizarre, and especially in like the current situation as well, when you have lots of different players mixing from not just one country, but for the likes of others, several different countries. And then you have quarantine restrictions that come into place, which means some players can't actually be in the squad. For an example of that, obviously you've got Toni Duggan, who's still in Spain. She can't come back here because of the 2-week quarantine, so she's not in the squad. It's just really bizarre. And I saw someone tweet the other day about like the men's game as well, because obviously they've actually had fixtures, and saying, what is the point in having England, like not England, but national, like international fixtures in the middle of a pandemic 2 weeks before the season starts, where the risk of getting the virus has become a little bit more prominent, and you are seeing footballers get the virus, so it ruins the opening of the season. And I think that's the case in the women's game. It ruins the momentum, as you said, of some of the teams, and it ruins the viewing as well. People might forget about it or things like that. So it just it's very strange, and I kind of wish that it would just not happen, but it is. So
yeah, I'm not like a big international football fan anyway. Like
no, I watch the women more than I watch the men, for sure.
I go out my way to watch England women. I wouldn't go out my way to watch the men's team. Don't know why. No. But yeah, like you said, because there's no games, it's just even more bizarre that you think, well, what are you doing? But who knows? There's a reason behind everything. So hopefully no one gets.
Yeah.
I hope Vinny can come back injured or anything like that, which would, because that'd just boil my blood even more, I think. One thing that we didn't get to talk about last week was, because it was announced after we did the podcast, is that Alex Morgan is signing for Spurs this season up until, I think it's till January, I want to say. Like, wow, like that's just a huge transfer, not just for like Spurs, but for like the whole league in general. I think obviously we had Tobin Heath and Kristen Press come over to sign for United, and everyone was like raving about that. Then all of a sudden, 2 or 3 days later, they're like, "Oh, I have Alex Morgan as well." Yeah, just take it as well. I think she's agreed a deal with Spurs for like, she's got like a lower wage package than she probably would be on if she stayed at Orlando, but she's guaranteed to play every game, I think. Obviously,
well, yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
well,
You
yeah,
play her anyway.
yeah. I think you play anyway, but she does have a tendency to, sort of drop off sometimes. I think you should, like, bear in mind she hasn't played a match since like September, October last year, I want to say, maybe September time. So she's gone a very long time without playing football, obviously, because she had her baby. So,
Yeah.
but then, to be honest, she might just come out all guns blazing and just be like, a score, like, it might be like that Thailand game where she comes out and scores 5 and just be like, oh, okay, like, you're ready.
Yeah, as long as it's not against us, I'm happy.
Yeah, well, we've got no plans to play Spurs this season as of yet. Obviously, depending on what happens, like cup competition wise. But I was saying to Evan, I was like, "Oh, for God's sake! Like, why aren't we in the league this year when all the big names are coming over?" I was like, "I'm gonna have to try and get to so many, like, you'll see me at all the Everton women matches. I won't be supporting Everton women, but I'll be there. Like, well, Alex Morgan's playing today, so I'm gonna go, because you can't miss the opportunity to see these type of players." And I think that's a big pull for bigger. I think that'll increase, obviously, when crowds can return, fans can return to stadiums. I think that'll make it bigger crowds at matches, because they're gonna go and want to watch these players regardless if they support that team or not. People will be like, "Oh, well, Fenton Park's not that far from us. We'll drive down and see such and such play," because these are the biggest names in women's football, and they're now playing over in like our league. So you're not going to miss the opportunity to go and see them play if you can.
No, honestly, like the amount of times we even sat on this podcast and go, "Oh, we're going to go there when we can, just to see so and so." Like Sam Kerr last year, that was hard to say. Was like in our podcast, the one we were like, "Yeah, we're going to go to like everything. We're going to go see them." Yeah. We never did. Never got around to it. But I think it's the excitement of it. Sorry about that motorbike. It's the excitement of it. Like, I know we're probably a little bit biased because we know who these people are already, and we know like how much of a high class player and all of them that have come across, really how amazing they are. But it's like really exciting. Like, it's that they're in. Obviously, we're not in that league anymore. But it's really exciting. But then on the other hand, you're seeing all these players come across, and then we're Liverpool. Like, I gave this analogy to you. It's like we're on the baby, like not the baby, but we're on like the child's playground, and you're looking at all like the big kids playing like football or basketball on the next court next to you. And it's like, like you wish it could be you, but equally we're in the position that we're in. And I think that some of the players that are in the championship anyways are incredible. So it's just one of those things, but hopefully they'll stay for more time, and we'll see more come across for a longer period of time. So if we do get back into the WSL, we'll be able to see some familiar faces each week.
Yeah, definitely. I think just like quickly from like a Tottenham perspective as well, like 2 seasons ago they were obviously in the championship, like a newly like formed team, given more backing from the club and stuff like that. And here they are 2 seasons later, and they're still in the top division and signing Alex Morgan and like Alana Kennedy, like international players, coming to their team. Like, that's huge for them. The same for Man United. Obviously, they were only formed like 2-3 seasons ago now, and they've got like Tobin Heath and Kristen Press like just playing on the wings for them, and like so many players. I think it shows how quickly the game can progress both like on and off the pitch, because if we'd have sat here at the start when we first started this podcast and thought, oh, in 3 seasons time we'll have these big World Cup players playing in the English leagues, you probably would never have thought that. But yeah, here we are. We've got some of the biggest names in women's football playing over in England. I think it just proves just how quickly the game like goes from strength to strength.
Oh yeah, and like how much the league's grown as well. I don't know, it just seems so competitive now, even to 2 seasons ago when we first started this podcast. Like, it was competitive, but we didn't know how much more competitive it could be, like the standard that it is going to be this season for sure. Like, I bet you could say 2 seasons ago that Tobin Heath would be playing in the UK for Man United.
Can you imagine me? Oh my god.
You'd have laughed in my face if I'd have told you that.
Sure, Amy.
Literally, you'd have been like, oh, she's off on one again. But it's the reality of the game, and it is super exciting at this time to be involved with it. And I just can't wait to talk about it.
I know.
As it progresses.
Might just have like a Tobin Heath watch every week. They used to have your Lucy Bronze one. I just be like, oh, she's here's a skill that she does. But yeah, like, literally, like, I'm hoping that like we can actually go to like the Conti Cup fixtures when we play like United.
Yeah.
If I don't get to watch Tobin Heath play live this season, there's gonna be like uproar. There's gonna be uproar because like I just can't miss this opportunity. We can't let it happen. Okay. Whatever we can do, we're gonna see.
Pinky promise.
Yeah,
pinky promise.
With everyone watching, we're gonna go play live. I don't care what it takes, where I have to go, I'm going.
We're doing it. Amazing.
We'll stay on there. Obviously, equal pay has been a big talking point for a long time now. Obviously, when USA won their World Cup last year, it all sparked again the fight for equal pay. Obviously, Australia then went and did it. Brazil most recently done it, and then obviously England followed suit, saying that they've been paying their players the same wages as the men's since January. And obviously, I think the Swedish national team have been, on the forefront of that as well. They've obviously refused to play some games at times, and players refuse to play for them. Just to sort of say, well, until I get equal pay, I'm not gonna do this. We're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Big news that I've seen. I think it was yesterday it's Tuesday today, isn't it? So it must have been yesterday that it was announced that the Swedish men's national team have decided to forego all financial compensation for their autumn matches in order to negotiate equal pay for the women's team. Now, I think that's just like a big statement in itself to have your male counterparts come out and say, well, they're no different to us. They do the same job as we do. So until you give them money, we're not going to take any ourselves. And now whether the Swedish board will turn around and go, oh yeah, okay, like you, blah blah blah, here's equal pay, or whether they'll turn around and go, okay, now these want to be paid then, like whatever. It's obviously
go either way.
I don't think it'll go that way. I think there'll be huge uproar if it did go that way. I think just to think about a men's national team showing their support for the women's side, it's just amazing.
It's brilliant, and I think it kind of goes well with the points that we just made about how much like the women's sports growing. I think it just goes hand in hand with that. There we go. Yeah, it's great. I feel like we talk about this every single week, like something new comes out. I don't really know what like else to say about it. It's just it's huge. It's great, and I think it's almost sad that we have to make it an event rather than it already be in place. It's sad that we have to like celebrate the fact that they're finally doing it, but I think each step in the right direction. I think where women's football was 5 years ago it's such a different place now, and where it'll be in the next 5 years will also be another different place. So it's really, really exciting, and I think especially for us too as fans of it, it's nice to see that the sport's finally getting the recognition that it deserves. And hopefully it lives on forever, and it keeps improving time after time, and that's all you can really hope for.
Yeah, I think now you've got to think of it as a domino effect. Once one person does it, obviously Australia did it, so then Brazil, England have followed suit. You know, if Sweden follows suit, like Spain, all those type of places, it is just going to be basically a domino effect, because everyone's going to think, well, you know, if they're doing it, type of thing. I think if there's a big spanner in the works for the US, like a whole lawsuit that's going on, because they must be sitting there thinking, hold on a minute, we've won 4 World Cups, we've won 2 back-to-backs, we've won Olympic golds, we've won this, we've won that, we've won the other, but we can't have equal play. But here's like another country who haven't achieved as much as we've achieved in so many years, but they're getting equal pay. It's like, it doesn't quite add up. So I think that'll have a huge span in that whole lawsuit.
Oh, definitely. I think it's about time they stood up and did the right thing, really. But you're so right with that whole domino effect thing. It only took one country to do it, and look how many have followed. So I won't be surprised in the next few months if something further comes out on that US equal pay situation, and hopefully it's the one that we're all sort of looking for. Like, hopefully it's positive rather than negative. But I agree, like, the amount of accolades they have versus the amount the men have, it's just like morally wrong, really, isn't it? But I mean, it's not up to us at the end of the day. All everyone else can do is set an example and hope that they follow. So, I mean, my fingers are crossed for them, because I think it is only fair.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's everything we've got on the agenda. Hopefully we've covered some topics that you wanted us to discuss. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below about everything we've discussed today. Or if you want to bring up another subject to us, we'll happily chat away to you in the comments as well. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next week with a new podcast. Ta-ra!
Bye.